Hello you guys, and welcome to part number 2 of my Disney Q&A from my February girls trip with my friend Becca Hart. So we did this whole big girls trip and I asked you guys for questions over on Instagram. If you've not seen part 1, I will have it linked in the description box below so you can go over and like check that one out first and then come back to this one. But I have so many questions. I'm gonna jump into it. Hopefully I can rapid fire it, but let's get into all these questions because you guys want to know a lot. All right, so next question is, besides the pink donut, love my pink donuts, what is your must list at every Disney park and I'm assuming with that it's snacks. So, okay, I love my pink donuts. At Magic Kingdom, it would have to be the cheeseburger spring rolls in Adventureland, like right as you're going into the Adventureland, right before you cross like the bridge. On the right, there is a cart that sells spring rolls. Do yourself a favor and get some and get the spicy mustard. Over at Epcot, it is back in the France Pavilion, the bakery. Les Halls, I think. I'm probably butchering that. I am not French. I do not have that accent. So I apologize if I'm butchering that. But in there, they have a pesto chicken sandwich. Get it. Just get it. So good. And they've got it for breakfast, lunch, dinner. It's there all day long. Do yourself a favor and stop in. And then let's see, over at Hollywood Studios, it is my Jack Jack's cookie. I started that last June and now it's in every trip. Oh wait, actually I didn't get one on this trip. I broke the cycle. Guess that means I'll have to get 2 next time. Okay, and then over at Animal Kingdom, I think it's their Mickey cinnamon roll. Okay, so when I get cinnamon rolls at Magic Kingdom, then they're the Mickey ones from the Starbucks. They're good. But there's something about the ones that we get at Animal Kingdom, they're always like even better. Like, I don't know. So yeah, that would be my pick for Animal Kingdom. Morning get ready routine with you and the girls with breakfast ideas. Okay, that is a very good video idea. I will definitely add that to my list. I actually have a morning routine. Later on, I would like to refilm it, so maybe on a future trip I'll do an updated morning routine, but I do already have one of those on the channel, so I can link that in the description box below for you to check out later on. All right, next question is, what do you think the best age is for a first trip? Okay, so I have 2 answers for that one. If you're somebody that you're like us and you love going to Disney even before you had kids, whenever you want to go. Like, we have taken a baby as young as 6 weeks old. Crazy, probably, I know, but we took her at 6 weeks old and we loved it. And even like from the mom like postpartum side, I didn't have to cook, I didn't have to clean, like I got to do some walking that I really needed to do. It was great. And so vacation right after baby, 10 out of 10, I would personally recommend it. Now, the other caveat to that is if you're not gonna go a bunch and you like want them to remember the trip, and this is like maybe you're only gonna do like a once in a lifetime trip or I don't know, every 5 or so years, you might want to wait and do it closer to like that 4 or 5 age range. That way they're out of diapers. It's a little bit easier with that sense. And then, yes ma'am, as I was saying, you might want to wait until they're a little bit older, and just that way they can, the whole like remember it and whatever. But if you're somebody that you enjoy going to Disney, just book the trip and go now. Like, just go ahead and do it. And then I also got a ton of questions about Caribbean Beach Resort specifically, and I don't want to answer all of those in this video because that would just make it even longer. But I do plan on filming an entire video about Caribbean Beach Resort and my review of it and thoughts of it and whether I'll go back or not. So yeah, that is coming. That is coming. Is Grand Floridian your all-time favorite resort? Yes, hands down. It's not my budget's favorite resort, but it's my personal favorite resort. I love that one so much. It is my favorite of the monorail. It's my favorite overall. Yeah, I just love it. It's perfect. I could go on and on about all the reasons why it's perfect, but I love it. And then, I'm sorry, my nose, it's like coming and going. Our weather decides to go from winter to spring to winter to spring to winter to spring, and my nose just can't keep up, so I apologize if I sound extra nasally. But best toddler rides close to the park entrances for rope drop. Okay, so a lot of them aren't near the entrance. Most of the attractions you're gonna want to go on are like inside of the park, and so they're not exactly close by. With the exception of if you're going in on International Gateway at Epcot, then you can zip right over to Remy's Ratatouille Adventure. But most of them, you're gonna have to walk to any of the rides. So at that point, it's just deciding which one of the like popular ones you want to rope drop, like over at Magic Kingdom, whether you want to go straight for Peter Pan, or you want to head and do Mine Train, or if you want to go and rope drop like Space Mountain if they're like as they're getting older and everything. That's just, you kind of have to just know where you're gonna go. And those lines may look long, but they will go way faster than you think, especially if you are there for rope drop right when they let people like start going back and everything. You'll get through a lot faster. And then next question is best time if you're to go for low crowds. We tried to go in September and got a hurricane. Okay, so September is one of the times that you're gonna get low crowds. So you either nowadays have medium or high crowds. I don't feel like Disney, thank you, ever has like really low crowd seasons anymore. Don't touch the camera, Lucy. I don't feel like they have like low crowds. Because I had heard all this about, oh, January, February, it's low crowds, it's the best time to go, September's the best time to go. And I don't, like the times that we've went in January and the times we went in September, I mean, they're slightly lower than summer crowds and like holiday crowds, but they're not what I would call low, and especially not anymore. People are going to Disney in droves all the time. It seems like it's constantly busy, but Disney just seems like it's always busy anymore. And so January, February is a little bit lower than, like I said, summer and September, and it's kind of like a crapshoot with both of them. Bless you. In September, you either have the chance of like a lot of rain and hurricanes. Thankfully, we've always been able to somehow avoid those. We've just been very fortunate with that. And then in January, you have the risk of cold weather, and you're not really gonna potentially get in the pool, because parts of our days were warm and in the 80s, and then other days they were in the 50s, and we were chilling in like double sweatshirts and like everything that we could to stay warm, and kind of regretting that I didn't bring my winter jacket. There's not a lot of low crowds. Just pick the time that you really want to go, that you're interested in, that excites you the most, whether it's Christmas or summer or Flower and Garden Festival or whatever that is, and just go and have a good time, and just know it is what it is. Minivans, how to order them. So you will order a minivan through the Lyft app. When you are staying on Disney property, you will be able to key in, say, the Disney resort that you're in or the park that you're in, and be able to go there. Now, they only work on Disney property. They do not work outside of that. And I actually have an entire video on minivans and everything, and so I will link that in the description box below for you guys too, but you can check that out. But yes, they are super easy to order. Another question about minivans that I want to answer here is about car seats and like their expertise and being installed properly, and just kind of worry and anxiety over that. And honestly, I am so not worried about that, because the cast members that are driving the minivans take literal courses to do that in driver safety and everything that Disney provides for them. And they also spend an entire day of their training doing car seat installation and learning the proper way to do that. And we have even like checked our car seats, and they do not budge. Like, they're in there tight and they are secure. And yeah, I have no worries or no concerns about that. And so I feel like they are awesome. And if you want to check the car seat, they will 100% let you do that. If you have any questions, you can ask them. And so it is, yeah, 10 out of 10 recommend the minivans. If they are in your budget, they're awesome. And the next question is, bus from Caribbean Beach to Magic Kingdom, were you able to get there in plenty of time for early entry and picks? Yes, we definitely were. We were in the Aruba section, so we were the very last to pick up. So a lot of mornings it was standing room only, unless there were like some kind families on the bus that were like, oh, you can have our seat or whatever. So that was kind of the situation there, but we were definitely able to get there in plenty of time. The bus ride from Caribbean Beach, if being the last stop going directly to Magic Kingdom, took about 15 to 20 minutes there, depending on like traffic and everything in the morning. But then if you were like, say, the first stop, I would allow a 30-minute bus ride to Magic Kingdom, plus then you've got to go through security and all that stuff. So I personally always recommend allowing 45 minutes to an hour before, and that's that's on like slower seasons to get to Magic Kingdom. That way you are ready to go in for early entry and can, as soon as they start letting people scan in to go into through the turnstiles, you're good to go. But yeah, I would just plan that early for sure. Next is, how were the temperatures and how did you dress the girls in the mornings? Okay, so most mornings we were fine. On days that it was like gonna be up in the 80s, it was high 60s, low 70s, and so if they were chilly at all, I would throw a jacket on, but most mornings they were in their little princess dresses, and then it was very quickly warming up, so they were 100% comfortable. On the days that it was cool, then I would layer them with leggings and like a sweatshirt, and then maybe switch out to a t-shirt later on in the afternoon, like if it got warmer, or would roll their sleeves up or something. So just lots of layers in seasons like that. I would take kind of outfits for both. If you're doing the whole 2 outfits per day, I would do maybe like 1 summer outfit or more like warmer weather outfit, and then 1 colder weather outfit, and just kind of intermix those and make sure they're pieces that you can kind of interchange, would be my suggestion. Next is, do you usually stay at a resort that uses the Skyliner? When we can, but not always. I like to switch up and like try different resorts, and obviously so I can share reviews and things for you guys and have that experience. But as far as always staying there, no. And we'll get into that more on my Caribbean beach review, but yeah, we'll get into the Skyliner more on that day, or in that video. How do you keep your girls out so late? Not sure I can pull it off. Would love your tips. Okay, so I have a toddler routine from like rope drop to fireworks that is coming out soon. I walk through the entire day, like timestamps everything of like how I schedule our day and how like that looks, to keep them out so late. And then in the future I'm wanting to do a video about an evening like after hours Christmas party kind of schedule, and so I'll be sharing that in the future, but be on the lookout for that video soon in the next couple weeks. Do you use a stroller bag when gate checking at the airport? I do not. We just collapse it and go and just hope for the best on the other side. A lot of those bags, like it's such a hassle to like take the time to do that, and you've got people backing up behind you, and I'm just like, I don't have time for that. So we just collapse it and go for it that way. I find that to be a little bit easier. I know a lot of people really like the bags, and like they're like, oh, just stuff some extra stuff in it and doing all that, and I'm like, I've seen way too many have to do the unpack of shame with those. So side note for that, don't stuff your stroller bag. That's a terrible idea. If you have to take it out, where are you going to put it? Have a plan for that if you do that. Yeah, I've just seen that go sideways way too many times. But as far as a bag, I'm not too incredibly worried about it. I mean, my kids are going to get the stroller dirty enough on their own. So, right, next is Uber versus bus to and from the airport when kids need car seats. With an Uber, you're probably, most of the time you're gonna need to carry your own car seat for that to get to and from the airport. I personally am not into carrying a bunch of extra stuff, so we just always use either bus transportation or use private transportation that automatically comes with a car seat, because the hassle of having to try to get an Uber car seat, if your kid's over 2, if your kid's under 2, no thank you, then they really, it's mixed on whether they'll take you or not, and so it's just like, it's a whole deal. Bus transportation is a little more, I feel like, reliable than an Uber. An Uber is going to be cheaper and it will get you there within one stop, but if you're not wanting to like carry your own car seats for that transportation, then I would definitely do the bus transportation or private transportation. Next one is, would you ever stay off property? We actually have. We've stayed off property a couple of different times at hotels that aren't like Disney hotels. Some of them were Good Neighbor hotels. So we got like benefits like that. I don't know. It's not my favorite way to stay, but there are definitely a lot of benefits to staying off property and like doing like an Airbnb and different things. You have more room, so there are pros and cons to both for sure. Let's see, people mover, which are the dark and scary parts. Okay, so anytime you go like inside of the building, it can be scary. Like it's not like haunted house, haunted mansion kind of scary. It's just if your kid's afraid of the dark, or like going through the area where Space Mountain is, you can like see like the coaster and everything, and you hear people screaming on a roller coaster. So if that is frightening to your child, then that might be a little frightening. The thing that always helps us is either my girls have their light up shoelaces, and so they'll turn those on, or I'll have like a glow stick or something for them to like pull out and be able to play with in those dark areas, which is helpful and just kind of distracts them from that. But yeah, that is how we're able to handle any like dark and scary parts of it. And then, do all the baby care centers have bathrooms? Yes. Hollywood Studios is the only one that I'm in my mind, I'm questioning. I don't think we've ever used the bathroom in there, but I want to say that they have a bathroom, but it's so tiny. I can't remember for sure, but I'm pretty sure it does. How do you hop to hotels? Can you give an example, like Riviera to get to beach, to get to Poly? Okay, so Riviera to Beach Club, I would take the Skyliner. That is the easiest mode of transportation. Use their Skyliner stop. And then to get from Beach Club to Polynesian, you would need to take the bus to Magic Kingdom from there at the Beach Club, and then get on either the monorail, I'm assuming it would be the monorail, or you could get on, there might be a bus. Sometimes they run buses, sometimes that's not reliable, or you could do the water taxi boat option to get over to Poly. So it's a couple different options that you could take from once you get to Magic Kingdom to Polynesian, but that's just one of the kind of options of how you can get around that way. Next one is, if we are there and see you, can we say hi? Yes, please say hi. I promise I do not bite. I would love for you to say hi. I'd love to meet you and your family. It's so cool to kind of put a face to like behind the camera, because right now I'm literally staring at a camera, and it's nice to like see faces and stuff, because I don't know, it's cool. I think it is a lot of fun, so please say hi. And I want to do better of like being like, I met a subscriber, and like sharing you guys in the vlogs or something. Like, I don't know, I want to do something like that. Would that be cool? Like if we saw you, to be like, hey, we just met Sally and Joe from Indiana, I don't know, wherever you're from, and you could be like, or if you don't want to say like where you're from, that might be a little weird, but I don't know, I've seen other like vloggers do that, and I think it's really cool when they like share I met a subscriber. I don't know, it just kind of documents the moment, and I think it's cool, and you guys get like a little cameo. I don't know, I may start doing that in the future if I can remember. Half the time I'm like pushing a stroller and talking to the camera, and you're like, hi, and I'm like, I'm in the middle of something, but hi. But yeah, you're totally welcome to say hi. It just may look a little more chaotic than it does in the vlogs. Just gonna say that. Where's the Tangled Lantern place? I got so many questions about this. Okay, so that photo op, whoop, nope, don't touch the camera. But that one is kind of an after like dusky dark photo op that comes out at Magic Kingdom, and you can do that one. It's over near the Tangled bathrooms, which are right near Small World, but there's usually a line for it. We waited about 20 minutes, so you can do that. They have photo pass there, or they will even take a photo with your phone, which the one I shared, the photo that I shared is from my phone. It's not actually the photo that the photo pass photographer took, and I feel like it's better, but I'll share those later on. How do you keep them up so late? Do you build in extra naps? Not typically. I just let them nap as long as they possibly will. A lot of times my girls won't take an extra nap, so if your kid will, build that in and like let them take an extra nap, but sometimes they just won't, so yeah. Can you bring strollers on the Skyliner? Yes and no. If you have an inline stroller, so like a tandem stroller that is a double stroller, or a single stroller that's not too wide, like I think it's like the Bugaboo Donkey or something like that, that has like the seat and then like this little like basket next to it, that's gonna be too wide, and you can't do that. You can't take that one on the Skyliner, or like a side-by-side can't go on. But the tandem and the slimmer single strollers can definitely push right on. The others, you just have to take your kids out. Baby, stop that. The other, like you just side-by-side double strollers, like what we've used before, and we still love to use, we just have to take the girls out of that one and collapse the stroller and carry it on, versus being able to just leave them in the stroller and push them on. So next question is, have you been to Cinderella's Royal Table? Worth it. It's my daughter's dream. We have not been to Cinderella's Royal Table yet. And I have skipped it because I wanted to wait until all of the princesses came back, and they come back sometime in late February, early March. I can't remember. I will look that up and I'll put the date in the description box below so you guys can check that out, or a link to the page. But I didn't want to do it until all the princesses came back. And so I'm on the fence of how, like, or when I want to do it. So I kind of wanted to save it for like a special time, not just to do it, just to do it. In my mind, the like perfect scenario is we wait until Bella is 3 years old for her birthday, and she can do the Bippity Boppity Boutique, and have both of the girls do Bippity Boppity, and then do Cinderella's Royal Table. If my patience will let me wait that long, we'll see. But that is when I would love to do it, and just do like this whole like princessy like special day. Like, it just feels so like, stop, Bella, stop. It just seems so like magical and like picturesque Disney day. So we'll see, but no, I have not experienced it. I've heard a lot of mixed reviews. I've heard it's more for meeting the princesses when they're there, and also eating in Cinderella's castle over the food. I don't know. You guys will have to let me know. If you have eaten there, which did you prefer, breakfast, lunch, or dinner? If you've had multiple times, I don't know. Leave us a comment down below and let us know your thoughts. Next question is, how do you remember to book your next Genie Plus alarm clock on your phone? Okay, so I will set an alarm for whenever I can book it, whether I can scan in and then book the next one, I'll do it that way. Or if I am like stacking and everything, then I will have a 2-hour, like I will book my lightning lane, and then I'll start like a 1 hour 58-minute timer. And then I know as soon as that goes off, I need to start looking for what I want to do next and have that pinned and like all that stuff, so that I can book as soon as possible. Are you guys planning on a Disney cruise too? At some point I would love to do a Disney cruise. So I don't know. Let's just say I've been perusing the website, so we'll see. Do minivans have car seats in them? Yes, they do. They come with 2 convertible car seats. They can either rear face or forward face. Budgeting everything, but still magical. Okay, so I want to do like an updated budget video, but that is one of the reasons I wanted to share, like in part 1 of this video, is how I budget, and kind of show you like what that looks like. And it wasn't to just be like, ooh, I spent this much money at Disney. And I know like some people, I think, took it that way. But it was definitely not meant in that way. It's meant of, this is what a family spends to do Disney this way. And that kind of gives you a look of, okay, you saw in our stories on Instagram what we did, and you see that throughout the vlogs. You know, okay, to get that kind of trip, this is what I have to spend. So that kind of gives you an idea for that. And so that's kind of why I wanted to share just like a budget report type video. So thinking about going in early October, is that a good time of year? Yeah, we really enjoyed October. It was still warm enough for pool time, and it was great. My only thing is there are a lot of fall breaks that happen in October, especially like when we went last year for my birthday. It was like fall break week in the south, basically. So there were a lot of people there. It was insanely busy. So just know that. But October, as far as like weather and everything, it's not quite as hot as summer. You're still warm enough for pool time. But yeah, I loved October. It was really nice. Best stroller for kids, side by side or front and back. It all depends on whether, to me, it comes down to whether you're gonna be on the monorail or the Skyliner. If you're gonna be on the Skyliner, that inline stroller is gonna be your best friend for being able to just push them on, not having to take them in and out of the stroller. If you are doing anything else, side by side is my personal favorite. I love that they get to experience things together instead of like separate. They're sitting beside each other and they can like point at the fireworks together or the parade or whatever. I don't know. I prefer my side by side, but my inline is perfect if we're staying Skyliner. That just makes the decision for me. How many bottles do you pack? My kid does 4 a day. We are doing 5 days at Disney. When we were doing that, I was actually pumping and like bottle feeding that, as well as breastfeeding, and so it was kind of a combo that way of feeding. So I would personally only take 2 bottles, and I would just have one with the milk in it, and then I would wash the other one and just kind of rotate with just 2 bottles, just so that I'm not packing a ton of extra stuff. I mean, you are gonna have to stop and wash those frequently, but it just helps you not have so much stuff because you already have a ton with kids. All right, next one is not Disney World related, but any plans to do Disneyland with the girls? How often do you do quick service meals versus table service? Okay, so I try to do a rule of thumb of I don't do more than 1 table service in a day. Sometimes we break that rule because of scheduling or whatever. It doesn't work out to where we can only do 1 a day. But I just find the whole, like, having those so many table services in a day to be really, like, for one, draining on your time because they do take up a significant amount of time, but also they put a little more structure in my day than I want to. Like, if you're having fun and you're riding rides and you've stopped for a snack and you're by that lunch reservation, you're not hungry yet and you don't want to stop doing what you're doing, or you see something like a character pops up or something random just happens, then it kind of tears you away from that. And so yeah, I only try to do 1 table service reservation per day. And also for budget reasons, I try to only stick to 1 per day because they get expensive. Oh my gosh, you guys really want to know about Disneyland. Okay. Basically, if you start early one day at a park, do you go next day later to the other park? How to fit in? I'm not sure what you're meaning. How to fit in Bath? Okay, so whenever, like, if it's late, we just go straight into our room and we do bath time. When we go back for nap time, I set up for bath time. So I've got their lotion, their diaper, everything is set up. As soon as we get there, I start running the tub and get them in it so they can just kind of relax and play. It's just a nice wind down for them after a very stimulating day. Something about just sitting in the water, playing with the bubbles, and just relaxing is really good. And it also helps them, like, calm down to go to sleep. So yeah, that's what we do. There are times we'll do early day after early day, and it kind of is what it is. You're just powering through at Disney. But there are definitely parks you can, like, configure to go later to. And especially if you're okay with stacking and everything, or if you don't find that you're gonna, like, enjoy as much at a certain park, then I can see that too. Going in September, both of my little ones are 3 months older than yours. How do you bathe them when do you bathe them, after nap or later? So we always do the bath time right before bedtime. That is just our routine and even at home, we try to stick to our home routine there at Disney. We get back to the room, we do the bath, the whole deal. I just kind of actually talked about that in a different question, but yeah, that's our plan. Is we start the bath, we throw both of the girls in there, we let them play, and that's how we do it. Let's see, does Caribbean Beach Food Court have a microwave to warm baby food? Yes, they do. Most all of the Disney resort quick service restaurants have a microwave that you can 100% use. Some of the resorts have them where you can request them to be in your room, but your mileage may vary on that one. I cannot guarantee that. Sometimes you can get that, sometimes you can't. But that is an option that you can ask about. Oh my goodness, guys said you were okay with long, so here we go. I don't know how this open. Okay, I don't know how long this is gonna be, but I can already feel like it's gonna be long. I feel like I'm sitting here forever. Okay, let's see. Is there a place to meet baby Jack Jack? My son is obsessed with him. Not in Disney World. Maybe Disneyland has something, but I don't think so. You can meet Mr. and Mrs. Incredible. They are back at Hollywood Studios now. They came back literally while we were on our, I don't know, we traveled there on the last day of January, so I don't know whether to call this a January trip or a February trip. I don't know, I guess February trip, we were there mostly in February, but they came back then. So you can meet his parents, but just not Jack Jack. Are all of the rides able to accommodate 3 in a row for you and the girls? Most of them, yes, but there are a few that Bella did have to lap sit and, like, sit in my lap. But most of them, yeah, we were able to sit 3 in a row. Where are the girls' mini jackets from? They are from H&M last year. They are about to grow out of them, and so I ordered Bella a new one. I'm hoping they'll restock Lucy size, but I will link the one I ordered for Bella down below because I know I'm gonna get questions about it because it is so cute. I love it. Is Magic Kingdom the easiest, quote unquote, solo? I don't know. I find all of them to be about the same solo, honestly. It has more rides that everyone can ride. So, like, in With us, Lucy is tall enough to ride certain rides that Bella just can't. Like, so say at Hollywood Studios, we skipped Alien Swirling Saucers because Bella's just not quite tall enough yet. And so there are a few things that we could do with one that we couldn't do with another. But that was, so I guess kind of is the answer, kind of. But they're all, I don't know, they're all about the same to me. Taking my 12-month-old to Disney, what can she eat? She's on purees right now. With purees, I would take what you're used to, or like have a grocery order with some pouches or whatever you feed her at home. But basically I would just have those purees like with you, and then any like finger foods if you're wanting to kind of move into starting a few more solids versus the purees. As you're comfortable, then you can like give them little like bite-sized things, but I would have with you or order what she is going to eat. That way you can stay consistent and you can keep her fed and everything. So that would be my suggestion. Places to hide, survive a toddler meltdown in the parks. I mean, there's places, like obviously you could take them, like there's different out of the way places. I can't go through the parks and like list everywhere to go and like hide with your toddler when they're having a meltdown, but just kind of look around and assess your location. There are definitely some more out of the way spots throughout all of the parks that you can kind of find, but also know that everybody's toddler has meltdowns at some point, and if you're getting looks from people, they either it's been so long since their kid had a meltdown, they don't remember that they did indeed have meltdowns. And then anyone else that you're getting looks from don't have kids yet. So their opinion doesn't matter anyway, and that whole, my kid will never do that, goes out the window the second the child comes into this world. Does Caribbean Beach verify guests at the splash area staying at Swan, and they don't have one? I was thinking about taking the Skyliner there to check it out with my 2-year-old. Okay, so they didn't verify when we were there, but a lot of times at most of the resorts you do have to like scan in with your Magic Band to get into the pool areas. It is for guests only. I mean, obviously it's your choice. You can totally do it if you want to, but my rule following self is like, no. Now if you're DVC, you can pool hop. I think that's I want to say that's come back. I'm not sure. They had stopped it with the illness that shut the world down in 2020. But then, I don't know. I'm not sure if that may be back. If you're DVC, you could do it. If you're not, then you do run the risk of getting kicked out. Another question asking about their mini jackets. Is there a boy version? Yes, there is a boy version. It's like blue and has ears, and it's really cute. So I will try to link that down in the description box. Do you, Dean, and Lucy have APs? No, not yet. As soon as I come back though, I want to buy one because it would save us a lot of money as much as we go, and would even afford us to go other times. So hopefully Disney, please start selling annual passes again. Next question is Memory Maker worth it? I keep hearing mixed reviews. Also, no idea how much it cost. Okay, so I believe it was $169 when we bought it. Becca and I did buy it for this trip, which was really nice to have, especially for like being able to get all of us in pictures, and with the character meet and greets. A lot of times they just do like, they'll even have like basically just the cameras in a machine or whatever. They don't actually have a physical person there standing doing PhotoPass. It's like their PhotoPass machine now. And so those were really nice to be able to get and not have to worry about it. So if you're gonna be there for a longer trip, like I would definitely do it like a day or two. I don't know personally if it's worth it for that, unless you're just gonna really take a lot of pictures. But if you're gonna be there for like a full week or something, or like doing all the parks or whatever, yeah, I would say definitely do the Memory Maker and stop and make the pictures, and yeah, they're really fun. How many park days for a 3-year-old? Okay, so for me, I like to do 5 park days. We do 1 at each of the parks. If we're gonna do like all the parks, we do 1 at each of the parks and then double up on Magic Kingdom. Just because that is one of our favorites. There in Hollywood Studios are our 2 like go-to favorite parks for us and our kids, and so we like to be able to double up on that. But I will say I would put a pool day or like resort day or something in between those, so I do like maybe 3 days and then a pool day and then 2 days, if you can do that. Like obviously your budget comes into play with this a lot, but yeah, that is one of That would be my suggestion. How do you get your girls to stay in the park so late without being exhausted and miserable? A very good nap in the middle of the day, and also just gauging them and going at their pace. If they seem like they're just going to explode and melt down, then we shut it down and come home or to the resort. But a lot of times if we're like going at their pace and like doing things that they want to do and they're excited about, they love it. Now they will start melting down towards the end. But that's just part of it. We just know, okay, and you know your kids, once you start the point of no return, like, okay, they're starting to get this whiny, the whining is getting close, the whining spurts are getting closer and closer together. It's like, okay, we're gonna need to dip soon. You kind of have to gauge your kid basically. But that we kind of go based on them, and once they start seeming really tired, then we will go back to the room. But yeah, that's just let your parental instincts kick in, because you know your child better than anybody. I feel like my toddler is always checked out and done after 7 p.m. I mean, if they are, then go back to the room. I mean, that you have to know your kid and just kind of stick with that. If they are not taking a nap, Lucy at home does not nap, but at Disney, she naps. We do have to take her to the resort and like put her in her little slumber pod and everything, but she will nap. It's one of those, so you might want to try that if your kid isn't a napper at home. You might want to at least go back to the room, turn off the lights, let them relax, and hopefully take a nap, because that could be what could make it to where you can get to fireworks at night. 4 days with Hopper passes, or 5 days to go back to favorite park. I would do 5 days. I would do that, and even if you took it slow and like you did a longer pool day break, or you only did a half day or something, I would still pick that. Just because I feel like even though park hopping sounds like a good idea and like you're gonna get more out of it, honestly, a lot of times, especially with kids, it ends up being even more stressful, because you feel like you have to run to the next thing, even though they like need a nap or whatever. So that would be my suggestion. Why not check your luggage to be hands-free? Okay, so the one and only reason that Becca and I didn't check our luggage, and we literally had this conversation because typically we are team check the bag, just because it does make you hands-free and so much easier. But the just absolute debacle that was Southwest Airlines, which is who we flew through, in the weeks leading up to our trip, and how many lost bags and everything with toddlers, we just didn't want to risk it. So that's why we pack carry-on. Personally, I prefer doing checked. It's just easier. Check everything but the diaper bag, and maybe like one bag with your swimsuits and stuff in it or something. But yeah, that is why we didn't check our luggage on this particular trip. You end up having to wake the girls in the morning. I know you like to do a split day. Yes, we do typically end up having to wake them up, but sometimes they wake up like, and it's just like right on time. It's like, okay, I've just finished getting ready, and they start waking up, or I just finished getting ready, or I'm like almost done or whatever. And so sometimes it works out perfectly. But yeah, most mornings we do end up having to wake them up. Since the food is the same, what atmosphere is better, Diamond Horseshoe or Liberty Tree Tavern? I don't know. I kind of like the Diamond Horseshoe. It felt a little more relaxed. I don't know. It was cool to eat in a place that we had never eaten before, or like in a building we had never eaten before, so that was cool too. But yeah, I think I kind of actually like the Diamond Horseshoe a little bit better. Okay, how to relieve sore ears on a plane with infants, toddlers during takeoff and landing. Okay, so as soon as you get in your seat, have your snacks ready, and as your plane is taxiing to like take off, you know right about when it's gonna start taking off. As you're taxiing out there, have your snacks ready and start having your kids to eat them, whether it's Cheerios or a pouch, or if you're nursing, nurse. If you're bottle feeding, grab that bottle. But go ahead and have them doing it as you're taxiing out there, because the pressure is going to be changing as you climb and everything, and so it's better to do that. Don't wait until you're in the air. That is the big no-no of like kids in their ears, is you're more likely to have all of that pressure built up by the time you're in the air and you start snacks. And then you have to have this huge release versus like little small releases of like just chewing and everything as you're climbing and you're taxiing and flying and everything, and taking off. So that is my suggestion, and my girls usually do great with that. I will offer them water or snacks or whatever I can to get them to eat at that point, and that works really well for us. Do you guys skip Animal Kingdom? A lot of times we do. It is our least favorite park. We're just not big Animal Kingdom safari people. I enjoy Animal Kingdom every time I go, but it's not one that it's like, oh, I gotta get back to Animal Kingdom. I don't have that sentiment for that park. Did you do Genie Plus every day? No, we did not. We split it between doing one Genie Plus day at Magic Kingdom, and then we did our Genie Plus at Hollywood Studios. But on our second Magic Kingdom day, we just kind of took it a little slower. We did rides and experiences that didn't need Genie Plus, and it worked out perfectly and also saved a bit of money. If you don't nap a toddler in the middle of the day, do you think it's possible to do 12 hours? No, not and have your sanity. You're gonna want that nap, or at least some sort of quiet time, relaxed time built in there somewhere. So whether that's relaxing on the hub grass or going back to your resort to just maybe let them play in the pool for a little bit or something, I feel like you're gonna want some sort of break. I don't know. We've never done that where we've done like all day long, just because it can be very tough. But yeah, I would build in that break for you and for them. It's because honestly, the break is just as much for you as it is for them. How to keep the girls from running away out of the stroller, balanced stroller walking time. Okay, so you're gonna wanna have those little breaks. We use a stroller handle, and I will link the one that we love to use in the description box below. But it is really helpful for her to be able to have a spot to hold onto, and she knows that we have an understanding that you're gonna be in trouble, and it's not gonna go well for you if you run away from the stroller. It is dangerous. You do not want someone to and we've had the conversation of, if you run away, someone could take you, and mommy and daddy love you very much, and we want you to stay with us. And so we have the conversation of, this is not gonna go well if you run away. So please be safe. And it's not to scare her, but it's part of life, unfortunately. So we want her to stay with us. So that is one of the things that we do. I also try to do stroller time when or out of the stroller time, like walking time, when we're not as in as big of a hurry, or we're not in as big of a crowd. So if we're in a slower area of the park, I'll let her walk and have some out of the stroller time. If we're having a snack or something, I let them out of the stroller and kind of walk around with their snacks and walking and eating, while we're just sitting and relaxing, because they've been sitting and relaxing for a lot of the day. So it's let them kind of run around and play while you're taking a break. And that's just kind of worked well for us. Another Animal Kingdom question. Seems like you almost never go to that park. It's just not my favorite. I don't know. I'm not a safari girl. Okay, which rides have you found you just can't go on with just you and your littles? Obviously anything with a height requirement that my youngest that she doesn't meet, then we can't go on those. But most of them I feel like we can do in some way or another. What was your job before kids? So I was an administrative director at a performing arts academy for kids, believe it or not. So I've always loved kids and always wanted to be a stay-at-home mom, or a work from home mom, with YouTube and it being a job. So I guess now I'm a work at home mom. That's what I did before this. I scheduled and planned and organized shows, and I've always been a organization nerd. It's been all the time. And next one is, were you and Becca friends before YouTube? We were not, actually. And what's funny is we live 20 minutes away from each other, but we had never met until YouTube. And we started messaging and chatting, and it was hey, this is cool. And then we started having play dates, and the next thing we know, we're going to Disney together. So yeah, I would have probably never met Becca if it wasn't for YouTube. And so I am So grateful for that. Are there faster food places to eat at Magic Kingdom? Not everything is with reservations. No, definitely not everything is with reservations. Some of our favorites are Pecos Bill's over in Adventureland, Pinocchio's Village House back in Fantasyland, and then there is Cosmic Rays over towards Tomorrowland. That is also a good one. And then Casey's on Main Street. Those are all all 4 of those are quick service. You can mobile order at every single one of those, which also makes it good, even faster. Quick side tip for that though is when you're walking to the restaurant, go ahead and click the little I'm here button when it pops up. That way they start making your food before you get there, and it's more likely to be ready and waiting on you instead of you having to stand there and wait on your food. What are the things on Lucy's shoes? Okay, so the little like puck things that are on the front of her shoes are the little basically battery packs for her light up shoelaces. How was it relying on the Skyliner versus monorail? It was actually great. We had no times when it was down, thankfully. It got definitely windy. It was a bit scary at one point. I did not like that. But it was totally fine and completely reliable the entire time we were there. Where were the fun Minnie and Daisy? So they are back in Storybook Circus near Dumbo, or actually across from Dumbo in the Pete's Silly Sideshow. So you can go back there and meet them. And then they also had Donald and Goofy back in there as well. You just have to go through 2 separate lines. So you have to go through a line for Minnie and Daisy. And then once you come out, get back in line and go through for Donald and Goofy, or vice versa. Next was, how was the Fantasmic dinner package and how did you book that? Okay, so you can find that on the Disney World website. So you just can type in Fantasmic dinner package and it will come up and show you the different restaurants that you can choose from. There are a few different ones that you can pick from. I believe 50s Primetime was the least expensive option. With maybe the exception of Sci-Fi. I don't know, Sci-Fi might be cheaper, but I'm personally not a big fan of Sci-Fi. It's like burgers and fries, and I feel like I'm spending way too much for burgers and fries. Next is early entry tips, and do you recommend Genie Plus even if you have early entry? Okay, so I have an early entry video and like tips and tricks for that. Yes, I would still recommend doing both because you're just going to be able to knock out even more. But if you're really wanting to save and you're not wanting to do quite as much, definitely power through early entry and save the money. It can definitely help, but I have like tips and like when to arrive and like everything in a separate video, so I'll link that one below for you guys too. What's the hardest part about being outnumbered? I would say the hardest part of that is just them both needing you at once, and those times that it is going to happen and does happen. That part is definitely a bit tricky. You have to figure out how you can handle that, but you know, it's the same with being at home. Like obviously your kids are going to need you at the same time at times, so it's just knowing how you can manage that. Sometimes it's finding a quiet spot and just sitting down with both of them and relaxing. I find that they didn't both need me at the same time as much when I would give them the appropriate breaks that they needed, and just kind of listening to them and following their cues, and just taking it slower. But that's what helped me and helped us get through this. If you were to do a resorts only trip, which resort would you choose? Okay, so it would probably be between Grand Floridian or I've never stayed at Beach Club, and that's on my bucket list. That's my next like big bucket list resort. I would love to stay at Beach Club. But yeah, if I were to do a resort only, it would probably be Grand Floridian or there. I also really love Saratoga. While it's not like as fancy necessarily, it's nice. It's a deluxe resort, but it's not like Grand Floridian fancy. It has multiple little splash pad areas, and so you could like try out different things with a resort only stay. You can walk right over to Disney Springs and do food. So I don't know. It would probably be between those 3 resorts for me. Still waiting for the review on staying off property. Okay, yes, that video is coming, I promise you. It is just so much content, and then with deadlines with brands, I have to prioritize that because they want things up in a certain time frame. But I promise it is coming. How frequent your toddlers get sick after the trip? The last couple of trips, every time. Previously, we didn't get sick after every single trip, but it's like the last 2 trips, we ended up, both of them and even myself, got sick after the trip. So I don't know. I think it's between the being tired and just all the stuff that you do. It's just tiring and there are germs, but you know, we can get sick if we go to the play gym or the park or whatever. I'm sorry, the girls are in here, so it's just chaotic. But yeah, I don't know. It seems like that. I mean, we wash hands, we sanitize, we bathe, we do all the things that kill germs, but you know, there's only so much you can do. All right, you guys, so that is gonna wrap it up for most of the questions. Again, I will be doing all of the Caribbean beach information and suggestions and review in a separate video, but I hope you guys enjoyed this one. If you did, don't forget to click the thumbs up button down below and the red subscribe button so you don't miss future content, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.
Mommy.